Yo, 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 welcome back to Just Kicking It. I go by Polo Show, and I'm with the homie.
Soy.
We got a special guest, my brother,
Morsi.
Yeah. And we're just here to talk about some hip-hop, everything that happens in the world of hip-hop this past week. So before we get started, I would like to let you know that we are artists first and foremost. You can find us on all streaming platforms. I go by Polo Show, and that gentleman there is Soy. If you would like to be on the podcast, please reach out to us on any platform, lifted_ones on IG or YYC Hip Hop Daily. Also, if you are watching this on YouTube, subscribe and hit that bell. And if you are listening to the podcast anywhere else, hit that follow button. All right, let's get started. So, in the global world of hip hop, we have the return of Cardi B. She just released a new single with a video called Up. So I think, Marcia, you just listened to a bit of it, and Soy, you checked out the video. I checked out the video as well. So first impressions, what do you think, Soy?
Man, I didn't like it. I didn't expect to like it, to be honest with you. It's not for me. It's definitely not made for me. The video was like, it really felt like a WAP part 2. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, I don't know. It's like it's a weird thing because like even when she's like rapping and she has like punchlines, and I'm putting quotations for punchlines, it's like I know it's not even her pen, so it's like I don't know. It's just a weird time in hip hop that this is the norm now, and it's just very weird.
Yeah, this is definitely like the top female rapper in the game right now. You know, as you know, depending on who you ask, but that's definitely the majority opinion. What about you, Imor? What was your?
Just with first off, just with what Sawyer said, if you are like, are you not about the punchlines because she didn't write it or because they aren't good?
I don't actually even think they're bad. I just don't. She didn't write them, and it's like, I just don't. It's just so, and it's just about her vagina, and it's like, I don't know. I can't imagine like this being sustainable for like. I guess it will be. I don't know. It's just, I just didn't enjoy it.
I feel it not being her pen is just an additional reason not to like it. But primarily why I don't like it is because it just seems like it's the same thing over and over again, right? It just seems like this is WAP without Megan. Like, you know, it's the same kind of like sexual innuendo song that she's trying to push. And I don't know, I listened to it. I watched the video. I listened to it straight through to the end. And in my mind, I knew we were going to be talking about it. So I was just trying to think. I'm like, all right, if I'm a 15-year-old girl and, you know, Cardi B's my idol or whatever, or Megan Thee Stallion is my idol, and this song just dropped, and I'm watching this video, is this doing it for me? Like, and I kind of thought about it like that, and I'm like, maybe, because sure as hell these lyrics about whatever she's talking about aren't for me. Like, so if I look at it from that perspective, then I can see how it works. But I don't know. I think it's just going to meet the same amount of criticism, but at the end of the day, controversy and sex sells, right? We saw a clip of her recently, right, where she was dancing to WAP, and then her daughter walked into the room and she like quickly turned that shit off, you know, like, so it's like, you know, I don't know. She knows what she's doing as well as well.
Yeah, no, I get that. I know, I'm watching the video. I like it. I ain't gonna lie.
You're watching the video on mute, bro. So of course you like it. You can barely finish the song.
Headphones off.
I was like, I don't know, like, because I didn't know there was a video, and then Sawyer was like,
oh shit.
Sawyer was like, there's a WAP part 2. I was like, oh, word?
That's everyone's investment in this. Again, you literally just tried to listen to the song without the video prior to this, and you could not make it through the whole song. Now you're watching the video like, yo, I fuck with the song.
I'll be honest, like, I can see like you could put any beat to this song, any beat to this video, like, and I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. The videos are lit. The videos are. I said it. I said it the last time. I gave her credit for
It's
that the last
fire.
time. The last video had her and Megan all, looking all great, and then Kylie, was it Kylie or that was in it as well?
Yeah.
What she didn't have a role, but it was just the agenda was just to have some baddies in the video, and that's
Yeah.
it was accomplished.
Yeah, I definitely think though what you're saying about like like sustainability and all that, like I feel like a lot of stuff in this rap game isn't sustainable. That's why the guys who do it for so long are the guys who do it for so long, like the Jay-Z's, even the Drakes in the last like couple 10 years. But like I don't know, like it's that question, like would you like burn bright like for like I don't know, a couple 2-3 years there? Or would you want to just like live in the shadows and like be in your truth to an example, like for an example too? Because like that's also not sustainable. You need fans, So I'm
Right.
kind of aware. Like as just purely from like a fan perspective, like I don't care if someone writes their lyrics or not.
That's the
Because,
truth. It is the
like,
truth, And I mean, I feel
I
like
think
for
most people
rappers,
feel
we,
that.
we don't want to hear that, but
yeah,
it's the truth.
it is true. But at the same time, like I think when I think about like everyone has their advantages, and it's like the guys, there was like that era where everyone was into like that thug, like ghetto rap, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm coming through the trenches. And I'm like, I know for a fact, like a lot of those dudes did not come through the trenches. Like we both know Rick Ross was a corrections officer. You feel me? Like that's the direct opposite of a thug. But like he sold us the dream and he still talks like, he still talks like he's going through the game.
Yo, you know what I mean? Like all my favorite gangster rappers who I know have stripes fuck with Rick Ross, even he got put on by Jay-Z, like, so
That's what I'm saying.
it's like, I don't know how I still don't, I know this story as well that, Rick Ross is a correctional officer, but even so knows, I listen to so much Rick Ross, like to me, I'm like,
He's fire.
I don't know how he managed to, I think his pen is just like, you brought it up once, like his pen is just so good that, even though he's a fake, like the real gangsters are like, yo, this shit is,
Damn.
this is what I'm going through.
He described Friday night. It's crazy. How do you know
His
that?
beats are also crazy. He has a really good ear for beats.
Yeah. I wonder if
man.
he just has like a gang of friends and he's like, all right, tell me about your, they come to his mansion every like 2 weeks, they meet up. Tell me about your shit.
I don't know what he's doing, but yeah, he's living proof. You brought him up. He's definitely living proof that, you can fake it and make it.
Yeah.
If it's real enough, you know what I mean? If it seems real, to me, the music is real. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we have to have this conversation. I'm like, all right, he was a correctional officer. But sometimes when I'm listening to Rick Ross, I'm like, damn, he was really in those trenches, like
You just forget
it's so vivid, like,
because it's so hard. You're like, yeah.
but yeah.
I think he talks a lot more about like hustling and stuff too, though. I feel
True.
like that's like he kind of went more that route where it's like almost like a Jay-Z, where he just talks his shit. But he also, like you said, like he has such a nice pen. It's like, you can't just like discredit him because it's like, he's such a talented rapper.
People hit him up to write songs, like literally MCs who have the street background hit this dude up to be like, yo, you need to pen this for me. So that's that's how, I don't know. So there's that double standard, right? And that's where, and I get what you're saying. I feel as rappers, we want to hear that everyone's writing their raps, but as a fan as well, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? As a listener, when something new comes up on the Spotify algorithm, and someone is spitting absolute flames, the first thing that's coming to your mind isn't like, yo, this dude write this? Nah, man, you're just acknowledging that this is flames.
I'm just excited about it. I agree with that. And I think too, like lately, like I've been starving for music. Like I'm at the point where maybe 2 years ago when streaming, just like 2-3 years ago, when streaming started to like pick up, I was like, wow, like there's not enough time in the day or like the year to like get to all the songs I like. Like this is wild. Like holy crap, look at me with that. Like when I switched over to like Apple Music, I was like, wow. Now I don't gotta pay for songs or like use YouTube to MP3 to download them. Like the world is my oyster, joy. And then fast forward, like I have access to all these songs and I hate all of them. Sometimes
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, sometimes I'm scrolling through the songs I've saved like over the past year, and I'm like, I don't even like what I like.
Yeah,
Like, what
I
is
feel
going
you.
on?
I don't know. It's definitely the double standard of like we we want like the way the music is right now, the way the music industry is right now is because of ease of technology, right? Every time we improve technologies to make human life easier, and so like you said, people did not want to be using LimeWire. People did not want to be downloading stuff with YouTube MP3s. This is a one-stop solution to get all your stuff. So it's like if you had told me in high school when I was buying CDs every week, me and Stefan would go to HMV and I would have to like budget with the money I had. Like, all right, I can only buy like, you can get 3 for 25. I can only afford this. So I have to pick like the fire that dropped that week. If there's 5 albums that dropped, I had to like, you know what I mean? If you had told me then that I could just pay $10 and I would have all the music in that store, I would not, you know what I mean? I would be like, what? But it's just so I appreciated music more then is what I'm saying. Like now it's the same thing. Like all those albums that I would be like, yo, what should I get between the three? Now I have all of them and it's like I don't want to listen to any of them. So
Yeah.
it's like I think that's a part of it. It's streaming has definitely taken away the value of the music. Like if a song that you saved that you really love, you heard it on the radio and you're like, yo, I need to hear that song again. If your only way to get that song was to pay the $1.99 on iTunes to get that song, that will increase the value of songs already, right? But it's because you can like Old Town Road, you're like, oh, I love that song. You could go pay the $1.99 to hear the song, or you could stream it 100 times until you're done and be like, all right, on to the next. And now when you hear that song tomorrow, you're like, fuck that song. Like
Yeah, true. So, yeah, I definitely have that attitude towards that song. But then there's definitely been times it came about the club, and I was like,
no,
I'm ready to.
music is. I mean, sometimes it's always the right time. Like I always feel like. Yeah, even like I feel that way as well. Sometimes I have stuff I saved and I'll go back and listen to it. I'm like, I'm just not in the mood for this, but I'll definitely, sometimes you go back and I don't know, you never know when it is the right mood, right? But yeah,
It's
I
like
do
that's
agree
why,
with
like,
you.
a random thing about that timing. Like, you guys know Gibeon? So like I really like Gibeon, the voice is awesome, all that. And then I think I was playing like Still Your Best, like with a girl. And like I love the song. And I realized she was liking it too much and I had to turn it off. And I was like, you know what, this guy's good looking too. I can't
That song's
no.
fire though.
Absolute fire. That's the guy I listen to.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, you like this too much. The song is too good.
I haven't even seen his face.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
No, I feel you. So yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll see how this Cardi B song like goes. Like, do you think it's gonna go number one? WAP went number one.
It probably, I don't know, man. I honestly, like, I listened to it once and I'm like, I just don't see this having like the same. It has like the structure of like a song that you would think would be a hit song, but I just don't know if it's like gonna resonate with people. Because I feel like everyone is kind of in a similar position where they're just like fiending for like good music. And to be honest, it's kind of just a song, and I think it's an attempt at like a hit, and it feels that way. And I guess Cardi B almost put herself in that box where like she just, because her first album had like a bunch of hits on it, and it was a great album, to be honest.
She got a Grammy for it.
Yeah. But she is in that sphere of like, she kind of has to put out a hit. And so
Very true.
when she makes music, she probably has to keep that in mind. So that's why like the hook is like super repetitive, or the lyrics are really easy to remember. But I don't know. It probably will.
We'll have to see. I don't know. I will have to see. All I saw was the video. If I was just to base it off the video, I would say yes.
Yes.
Just because it looks like it's, again, like how, like, man, they spent a pretty penny on that video. Like, just alone. All those different scenes. She looked like she was in different places.
It's the third time I'm seeing it.
Yeah. Are you watching it right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So colorful. Like,
Yeah.
see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, on to our next topic here. Lil Uzi Vert spent or put a $24 million diamond in his forehead?
There's no way that shit is $24 million. I
So
cannot
yeah,
believe that.
let's talk about this. I mean, they announced it looks like a ruby. It looked like a pink stone, right? Like it looked. I don't know. I can believe that, man. Rappers are on some shit like that. Like rappers usually put like
That's
$1 million
insane.
chains on their neck. So, but yeah, I don't. I the way I see this is one of those things where it's like people give hip hop a bad rep, or people give rappers a bad rep, and they would be like, oh, rappers are the cause of all this gang violence. Rappers are the cause of all this stuff because they're ignorant. Rappers like to pop pills and do all this, and rappers do a lot of ignorant stuff, right? And
Yeah.
this is just kind of like just going to society's face and saying, hey, I'm a rapper. I'm as ignorant as it gets. You know what I mean? Like, like what the fuck? Why is there a diamond in your forehead, bro? You can never get an official job anymore. You can like where you where are you gonna go where you're gonna have that diamond in your forehead and and they're gonna have a legitimate conversation with you? Yes, Mr. Uzi Vert, this is this is what's happening next.
I think it's like in line with who he is though. Like I'm an avid Lil Uzi Vert like listener, and like although I don't relate to anything he does, like I think his personality, like all of that, like it's like where you get in the music is what you get in real life. And like when I first like heard about it, I'm like the only thing I was shocked was like, oh, I didn't know this dude had 24 million. You know, that was like disposable like that. But then if anyone would do it, I think it'd be that guy. Honestly, I think it works with his look. Like it's not like,
Let's talk about the economics of this, bro. Like, come on, man. Like the world's in a pandemic right now. There's so much pain and suffering in this world. So many, you know what I mean? There's I'm just like, who does it this is the definition of he could have just made a live video and showed himself on like a rooftop in Dubai just throwing money like that. Could have just done that, you know? Like that's how I see this. Because this anyone that sees this says, oh shit, this guy's got 24 million to blow. That's all we see from this. It's not like, oh, he just wanted to look fly, you know? Who wants to spend 24 million to look fly?
It's so much money.
That's so much money.
it is a lot of money. It is a lot of money. I don't like, and I get what you're saying with like, it seemed like he's blowing it, but like, it might actually escalate in value. Like a lot of times, right? It's like, some people think you have to have it in like cash, but like you can have it in like assets like that. And like, I'm not really sure what the diamond like value is or if it depreciates like that. But put it this way, if he ends up like being a legend, let's say he just keeps making hit after hit after hit, and he's been making hits, you know, and let's say like we're witnessing this in the present. So for us, he's like, oh, we've seen this guy, we like him. He's doing a little bit of outlandish stuff. But what if to another generation, he's like the Michael Jackson? And there's that diamond. That's a little Uzi diamond. Just saying, like it's like Michael Jackson's glove at auction.
Can he take it out though?
But Michael Jackson didn't spend $24 million in that glove. You know what I mean? Like he
I
spent
know,
on
but like
a Ferris wheel.
Michael Jackson did a lot of things, and yet that glove was like millions of dollars. Like the glove was millions of dollars.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm hearing what you're saying, but it's like, so if he was trying to replicate that, then he would get at least a $2 million diamond. And then in his death, that because of the life he lived, it would be worth over 24 million. You know what I mean? Like just like the glove.
Yeah.
Whereas spending 24 million, he's gonna have to grind hard to make that for that diamond to be worth more than 24. He's starting so high.
His life savings.
I'm just like I've seen some of the time. Like 24 million is a lot of money, but then like at the same time, you see what some of these like, I don't know what kind of money is in this guy's bank account. But like when you think about rich America, like or like just rich Europe, like rich country,
Yeah.
like 24 million isn't 24 million the way it is. Like you know, like if you say kill a family, if you tell me today like kill a family for 24 million, like I ain't gonna lie, I'll think about it. You know,
It's a lot of money.
I'm gonna be real with you. Like I'll be like, look, I say the benefits for the remaining members of the family, our futures, and some of these guys, like, I feel like they don't even sweat on that. It's like 24 million. I don't care. I'll make more of it. There's
That's
that kind of money in the world. And all you gotta have is one fan that's rich enough. And I think Lil Uzi has a lot of fans. So, like, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't make the same investment. But
I wouldn't either. All right, let's talk about his safety. Last part of this. This dude is literally walking around with a $24 million head.
yeah, that's part two. If you told me I could get $24 million easy, all I have to do is take it off and move his head. That's it. That's free.
The amount of Thanos memes I saw, just ripping it off.
Oh shit. Yeah, no, you can't go through the hood anymore. That's a bye-bye. None of that. Even at his shows, they're gonna have to put like security at the foot of the stage if they weren't already doing that. Because there's gonna be one fan that's like, man, all my woes could just go away if I just snatch his
He's looking at him. He thinks he's enjoying the show, but he's really just plotting in his mind how he's gonna get on stage and get it. He's like getting this look of like, what the fuck?
I think it might not even be like violence. I think it might be like, mine's a baddie. He takes her home. She rocks his world.
Oh.
2 a.m. in the morning, she got a surgical kit. She's like pinned to the bed, chained up. He's like, oh, we're going for round 2. She's like, I'm going for round 24, baby. Takes that and moves on.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. I definitely think that this is gonna end with his safety being compromised. Hopefully he doesn't get like injured or badly, compromised like that. But yeah, I don't know. But that being said, it looks like it is a piercing that has the diamond in it, is what I'm seeing. So maybe the diamond can come out. It's not just 100% embedded in his head.
I would hope so. That'd be so stupid if he got it, and like if he removed it or like it moves slightly, like he dies or something. He like hits his head and just passes away.
Yo, you know what I just thought about? If he hit his head and it did get embedded into his skull and he does become a legend, then his skull will become like in the hip hop museum, you'd have a skull of Uzi with the diamond inside it. That would be cool.
That's pretty fire. Like, sometimes it's one of those things where like someone said the earth was like, we all thought the earth was flat, and then somebody said, this guy could be thinking in 2030 or 2050. I just have no idea about it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That. Also, too, like, I feel like sometimes when I talk about people's money, I'm like, man, you make so many bad decisions. And then sometimes I look at my bank account and I'm like, man, with the little money I have, I'm making some horrible decisions.
Yeah, that's everyone. That's everyone.
What would happen if you gave me $1 billion?
It's very true.
Dude, that's so funny as fuck.
3 diamonds in your head.
Yeah.
No one can tell me anything. All right. On to our next topic here. So the Super Bowl is happening this Sunday, or recording this on Sunday, the morning of. So we got a football fan here. Marshy, what are your predictions for the Super Bowl?
I think Kansas City takes it. So Kansas City is playing Tampa Bay. Tom Brady has 6. This is going to be if he wins, it'll be his 7th.
Wait. What? Tom Brady is playing?
Yeah. He got traded to Tampa Bay this year.
Oh, I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, that's why I kept seeing these memes, but I'm like, the Patriots aren't playing. I'm still like not in the loop with this, but all right, this makes sense. So then he's playing. Okay, how many Super Bowls has he done now?
He has 6.
So this was strategic. He definitely traded so that he could play in the Super Bowl.
No, I guess, but like the problem was the Patriots didn't have enough. Like he's aging. Patriots didn't have enough weapons, and they weren't really willing to like spend. They're like notorious about that. They don't want to spend in free agency. Like they don't pay people. You come in there, you work at like a lesser value. They give you they work for a discount when you play for the Patriots. And that's kind of their brand because it's like you're coming here, you're gonna make less money, but you're gonna win a Super Bowl. So like shut the fuck up, you know? And like now you see, so he was saying like when I was younger and I could carry the team, that's fine. But as I'm getting older, like I need weapons. Tampa Bay had a ton of weapons and they were willing to, they were willing to like make adjustments for him as well. So he went over there. Although like they had a good season, but like a lot of people choked against them, man. Just a lot of luck and a lot of choke. And I think that ends today.
You think so? You think he has to use like today's gonna be a test of skill. Can't luck your way out of it.
Man, it's like I feel like there's a lot of things in this world that like I know for like sure. I know like air exists because I can breathe. You know what I mean? Like I know that I need water to survive, and I know that Patrick Mahomes is the best thing to touch a football, and that guy is playing. And I really think like it's one of those things where it's unfair how good he is, but like
who's he playing for?
He plays for Kansas City.
Oh shit!
It's like it's almost like you ever see like Clash of the Titans?
Oh, so that's yeah.
So it's like, when they describe the Kraken, they're like, yo, this Kraken did this, he did that. And yet there's just that chosen fella who is like a tenth of his size and is slaying this guy at the end of the movie. You know what's going to happen, it happens. I feel like the Kraken is Brady. He's got his 6 rings, like his 6 tentacles. He's been eliminating people from the jump, so he should keep winning. But this
guy made it to the Super Bowl. Has he made it to the Super Bowl before?
Yeah, he won last year.
Really? Oh shit.
Yeah, he won. So yeah, he won last year. He won the MVP of the league the year before, and this is like his 4th year in the league.
What does he play?
QB.
Oh shit. So it is like, war of who's the better QB.
He's like I honestly think like he might be the best QB to ever play the game.
I mean, we'll see then. We'll see then because people will say Tom Brady is. But yeah.
I respect Tom Brady, though. Respect LeBron.
All right, for those of us that don't know, what's this guy's name again?
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. What makes him the best?
I think it's like where he went. Like his dad played baseball, so like when you play baseball, you throw from a lot of different angles. So that's kind of part of his game. Things don't have to be perfect for him to launch the ball. Got like accuracy, arm strength. But I think the biggest thing, and you notice it with a lot of QBs, and I think a lot of people in life, when things aren't going well, people can like panic and stuff. For some reason, with this guy, when things don't go well, he's like, okay, like rises above kind of deal. And it's almost like no situation is too big. Brady kind of has the same like mentality though, and I think that's what's like carried over through most of his career. It's like this guy can throw 4 picks, and he's like, I don't care. I'm still nice. I'm gonna throw a touchdown. Whereas like Patrick Mahomes, they're down 30. He's like, oh, thank God we're down 30. Now I can launch the ball and do what the hell I want. He's like dancing, throwing the ball with his left hand, just things like that, So I think that's kind of like when I think of like a good QB and I think of like a winner, it's someone who like the situation doesn't matter. It's like just like perfect vision of the goal. It's like we're here to win. I don't care where we start, where we end, we're winning. That's it. And that's why I like him. I think he has that kind of mindset.
That's dope. Yeah, so this is gonna be hype. Super Bowl is gonna be hype. It looks like about Clash of the Titans. It looks like The Weeknd is performing. You guys looking forward to that performance?
Yeah. What's up with his face? I'm so confused.
What's up with his face?
Yeah, like with all the, he had like the nose thing where he like looked like it was like plastic surgery.
Oh, he's just like he's an artist. I just see like The Weeknd to be on some creative shit. So I think like the music, like that was the theme with this album was that it's like it was like a night in Vegas where he was gambling, and then he got jumped or something. So the whole theme of the album is like a bad night in Vegas. So you seeing him with the broken nose is just one part of the night, I think. He's released a ton of music videos that actually like sequence to the story. I haven't been following them, but yeah, I'm aware of what's going on.
Okay, because I was just like,
just some artsy shit. Yeah, no, it's not. It's just like Lady Gaga wearing a weird dress to the awards. That's why his nose is bleeding on the cover. It's not for any other reason.
I've always, especially after he did the cover of like Dirty Diana, I always kind of like put him or like compared him a little bit or seen him in like that Michael Jackson light. And like when I saw the bandage, like when I saw the full bandages around his face, I was like, oh my God, we're going to lose another one.
Yeah. Nah.
Like, just not gonna happen. Like he's gonna I'm gonna wake up one day, he's gonna be white, you know? And I was like, yeah, you know. So that's why I was worried. Okay, if it's an artistic thing, fine. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's what it is.
you know, like I could also hear him saying, like, yeah, you know, this is part of the like album. I actually just needed to like, you know, become white. And like
for this creative process.
It's the theme of the album.
this creative process, I think
I moved to New
like, you know
Zealand.
how like method acting, like this is gonna be like my life now. Because my life is a creative process. Like,
Makes country music.
I can see the Weeknd doing that, man. Just watch like behind the scenes for the album. You see him living in like this suburban home with his white family. He's like, yeah, I hired them just so I could really get into this.
Hi, my name's The Weeknd.
No. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this, man. I think he's gonna perform.
Me too.
He's gonna perform some hits. I saw that he dropped a compilation album called The Highlights. So basically, like all like his hits throughout his career. And this is what you do when you're about to like. This is definitely gonna be the biggest stage of his career so far. So a lot of eyes are gonna be on him. And it's
Definitely gonna be a great show.
Yeah. On to our next topic here, Joe Budden on Patreon. And so we talk about the Joe Budden podcast a lot. It's another hip hop podcast. And they recently were exclusively, you know, signed to Spotify, and that's how they were making money from podcasting. And then I think they just didn't get the amount of money they wanted. So Joe was like, fuck you guys. And he's been dissing them ever since. And now he's on Patreon, you know? So, and what Patreon is just kind of like it's like an exclusive, it's like OnlyFans. That's the best way to describe it. You know, your fans can come and subscribe and like or your fans will be a part of your Patreon account and you have exclusive stuff. So there'll be like an exclusive episode of the Joe Budden podcast on there that, you know, is only available to the people that are on his Patreon. So I think they can either pay for that exclusive piece of content one by one, or it can be a monthly thing. And because they're part of his subscription, they're getting the exclusive content. So it's dope. We thought it was dope to bring up because, you know, we're running a podcast here and we're trying to fucking make money from it. I didn't mean to sound so bitter.
but wait a man, like.
But yeah, so it's definitely in the cards for us. Is, you know, hop on Patreon, get some exclusive content on there, and build a base there as well. Do you want to add to this, Soy?
Yeah, it's just like I don't know, it's a really good direction because I feel like with guys like Russ and guys like Joe and certain figures, even Jay-Z, where they make an emphasis on owning your own stuff and like having like being able to have an income. And I think if you just rely on like streams, you'll be broke forever. Even if you get like as many streams as possible, like it doesn't equate. It doesn't make sense.
1 million streams on Spotify is equivalent to $5,000 right now.
That's terrible. So like in the grand scheme, that's not great. But
it's terrible, man. A lot of artists grind their whole lives to get that 1 million streams. You know,
yeah,
that's what that number is equivalent to now.
But it's really good news for creators, especially people coming up, and that is probably going to be the wave for the next 10 years.
I think
where
so.
People are like owning their own things and they have their own brands, and it's like you could literally have like a strong base on Patreon, like 1,000 people on Patreon, and you could live a comfortable life.
Very true.
You know what I mean? And so that's kind of the benefit of having, and it's been around for a while and people have been using it, especially like podcasts I watch. They all have like Patreons. But it is something for like the diehard fans, which is really cool. So you can kind of get to know your base more, but it's like, I don't know. It's just like, it gives people the opportunity to like pick and choose Because if you're going to spend like $25 on someone for exclusive content, then clearly like you're invested, right? So I think it's a win-win for everyone, to be honest. It'll give people more opportunities to kind of be courageous and just be like, hey, I'm going to start as a side hustle. I'm going to put out this podcast and eventually start getting sponsors. Then you can throw it on Patreon, and then you can kind of, it's just like, I don't know. I feel like stuff like this is going to give people more access to like if like a doctor was like, okay, I'm a doctor, but I also have like a podcast I do, and he makes money from the podcast, but he's still a doctor. Like, it's just a way to get more income, and like, it's also a fun thing to do. And I just think that type of mindset of like that Joe has, where he's always thinking about, because on the podcast he was talking, he's saying it as in like, hey, I can take this 30 million right now and I can have that 30 million, whatever, from Spotify, but I can also be he put himself in a position where he's a creative equity thing, whatever the title is. So basically he's ensuring that the artists get paid and like that they're treated fairly, which, not surprising, is not how these streaming services or these labels look at their artists. And so I think the next 10 years, you're going to see the fall of like record labels and the rise of like independence more than we've ever seen before.
Word.
Yeah.
Word.
That was pretty long-winded. Sorry.
I'm just kind of looking at this and I'm like, how profitable is this though?
What do you mean, Patreon?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, because like, if you like, look, I like Drake, but like, am I going to subscribe to a monthly membership to Drake? Like,
but what if Drake told you that he's going to drop an exclusive album on Patreon? You can only get it on Patreon.
I'll wait for somebody to get the membership.
I'm going to wait for you to.
I mean, and that's if, and you're looking at it from the perspective of the bigger artists. No, a superstar artist is not going to need this, right? Like they have the labels pushing them. Like a Drake is not going to need this. This is for the dude on the come up, or just like the small dudes, just like with our podcast, you know, the small dudes that are trying to make it happen and have like super fans. They have people around them that are like, yo, this guy is going to be the next Drake, you know? So I know that if I just subscribe for $5 a month, I'm going to be a part of that wave. So I think there's that part, but you're right. You know, it's definitely, if you have, like, if the Joe Budden podcast has, let's say 100,000 subscribers, that's a modest number. They definitely have a lot more, but 100,000 subscribers, I would imagine like 10,000 of them are going to hop on Patreon and pay, you know what I mean? So it's going to be a niche. So you have an audience that fucks with your content, and then there's going to be the niche audience that's the super fans. They're like, yo, we're going to help you out. So that's how it is. It's not going to be able to convert everyone into paying monthly. Like I still consume the podcast. I'm not going to join Patreon like because Joe Budden.
Yeah. That makes sense. I definitely wasn't sure, because I'm reading about it and I'm like, that makes sense if the big names go there first and like start the trend. But at the same time, you say that, right? Like, if you are someone who's coming up, it'll be a lot better for you to make money. But how you make money is from, you know, getting your name out there. How can you get your name out there if you're restricting access to your music?
That's
so it's
true.
like,
and so
that's funny too.
And so the way you do it is definitely a big, you definitely have to have the grind. Basically, you have to have the stuff you're putting out regularly. And just like Joe Budden, he's probably like, it's not like he's going to now take his podcast and put it all on Patreon. He's going to keep doing the podcast as it is. And I think they usually do like 2 episodes a week, but maybe like 1 week, I would imagine like the trial of like Tory Lanez and Megan, that's going to be a big hip hop story. They'll have a 3rd episode that week, and that episode will only be available on Patreon. You know what I mean? So stuff like that, right? It's like, so you be like, shit, I want to, you know, you got your 2 episodes this week, but shit, I want to hear what they said about this. So you might just have to pay that $5 to get it. So it's just about making offers, right? At the end of the day, right? It's just there. Like you said, you're a big Drake fan, but you're like, yo, if Drake was to drop an album, you're waiting for someone to get it. It has to be the right offer. If Drake was to drop I don't know, like I don't
A
know what,
documentary.
like a documentary, an album, and like a workout line that you could you could get, like if with his new like Nike thing, all for just being subscribed, you could get that. You know what I mean? Like this, there's an offer that can be made to you as a fan that would make you be like, all right, I see what you're doing. But yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
it's about being creative every month. That's what Patreon is. It's not Patreon itself is a hustle. It's not just going to be put it on there and people are going to pay. You have to make enticing offers that people are going to be like, shit, I want to pay for that.
But I have a question too. In terms of with what Sawyer said about like we're gonna see the death of like music record labels like coming up, like that I feel like would depend on like what people are trying to get out of the music and creators are trying to get out of the music. And it's like a question for both of you as like creators too is, are you doing it for the love of music? Are you doing it for the fame? Are you doing it for the money? Or are you doing it for all of it?
I am doing it for all of it, man. But like, definitely, you can't. And that's at the end of the day. You even just to. I just feel like to legitimately be doing music, you have to be making money from music. You know what I mean? Like, if that's just how I see it. Like, if that's what makes Drake so legit. He's making the most money from music. I mean, he's good. But I mean, to someone who doesn't listen to hip hop, like a grandmother somewhere, you know what I mean? She can see that Drake is a successful artist because Drake is making money on a large scale from his music. You know what I mean? So it goes hand in hand. You can do it because you love it, but you should be making money from it so that you can keep doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like kind of the same. I actually spent a long time where like I had that debate in my mind where I'm like, well, I'm doing this because I just love to make music and like I don't care about any of this what people think. And then you get to a point where like, well, like Sho said, like if I want to sustain this now, I really want to make this like something that I'm doing full time for real. Something that I love to do is to make music, but I can't do it for free forever, And so it's not necessarily about the money. It's just more about it opens up opportunities, and money is just a way to
Keep score.
Yeah, push that process even. And so, yeah, it's a shitty circumstance, and it's stupid that that's kind of like how the world works, but it is the reality of like how things actually get moving. Is like do that.
Yeah, I think like there's not wrong with chasing the bag, but it is like it's like one of those things where you think about all these like how you present the music and how you present yourself is like some people can like Cardi's just trying to make hits, but it's like,
Yeah, I mean, and that's your point. Yeah, there's definitely Cardi is
like,
definitely about the bag. You know what I mean? So this is what you were saying related to like the labels. You are right. That's what labels do offer you, right? Like a label is always gonna be that. Like if you sign with us, we know the game, man. You know the Beatles? Shit, we used to rock with them. You know what I mean? Like that's the label. The label is always gonna be like, yo, we can take care of you. Just need to sign away your life, like just give us all your rights. And so there's the other side of it. And so that's what he says by the death of the record label, because at the end of the day, what's happening is record labels are taking advantage. That $5,000 I just told you is made from 1 million streams. If you're signed to a label, they're probably taking like 70%. So every 1 million streams you get, you're making 30. You're every $5,000 you get from 1 million streams, you're making 30% of that. Like, or something like that. I remember it was said like when Lil Uzi's EXO Tour Life, one of his biggest songs, it did like 9 million. Like the label said it just did like 9 million gross, and then Uzi got like 800,000 was his. That's 1% almost of that. That's from 9 million to you not even get 1 million out of that. That's 800,000 is a lot of money, to make up from one song, right? That's if I made 800,000 from a song, that's a lot of money. That being said, the 9 million was made from that song, and so that's part of the label game. So with the death of record labels, I think what he means is ownership. It will turn into a point where everyone owns their shit, and maybe the scale isn't that high, and that's the next thing is to be able to scale it up, because that's the trade-off. You would sign with a record label if you wanted to be, I want to be the next Cardi B.
Yeah.
A label can do that for you, but what you're signing away is you don't own your music anymore. You know what I mean? Just like when you die, the label owns your music. They decide what happens with your discography. You know what I mean? So that's the trade-off. And so the more like independent artists can figure out ways to own their stuff and make money and market themselves, the more it's going to be like, why would I even sign? The label will have to, literally be like the devil being like, yo, this is the best deal. This is the most tempting deal. You know what I mean? That's what they do. Like this, I think they said like Juice World, he signed for like something like 8 million, right? Because he had that song. What was the song?
Lucid
He had,
Dream.
like, yeah, he had a huge hit song where it was out. So that's all it is leverage. The label is like, yo, when you're nobody, but they can see you're talented, they're gonna lowball you and hook you onto that contract so they can make the most money from you. But when you're already popping, everyone's trying to talk to you, so they have to enter the room with money, and then they're still gonna try to fuck you in the contract and try to make that money back. But yeah, so I think, in my opinion, I think labels do have to die, and that's what Lifted One Records is involved in doing. Is we're slowly but surely building the infrastructure to have our own record label, and we almost have all the roles filled at this point. I can't see us actually needing, to sign. I mean, if a label still hit us up tomorrow, we'll still be like, all right, what are you offering? You know what I mean? Like, like what do you, but it's still like the whole point is to get to a point where, and that's the independent grind, is to get to a point where if the label was to hit us up tomorrow, I'm not even in a rush to answer their call. I'm like, I can let it go to voicemail. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because we're good. You know what I mean? You guys have to make me an offer that's going to make me come out of my comfort zone. That's the independent grind. So yeah, we're definitely went on a whole tangent there, but that's what this is about, though. That's the majority of what we talk about is grind.
I feel that.
So yeah, on to our next topic here. Someone who's been on the grind. Jeff Bezos stepped down as CEO from Amazon. So I think this was just at the start of last week. He just, or like at the start of the new year, he was like, I'm stepping down. So I guess we're here to speculate, because this is a fact, he's stepping down. We're here to speculate why he's stepping down. So I'm going to start by saying I believe it's because the Democrats, or not just the Democrats, just the government at large, people have been saying like these tech companies, Amazon, Google, Facebook, who else? Who else is in the market? Twitter, like all these big media companies, they're monopolies at this point. You know what I mean? And like, as like more with like Standard Oil, when there was a monopoly, they had to just break it up into tiny, not tiny, but there was if there's a large corporation that is a monopoly that is controlling too many different things, they can say, all right, you guys are strangling competition. You're not allowing competition in the marketplace. You guys are just bullying people. We're going to have to separate your business into smaller things. So I think with Facebook, that would be like, Facebook is literally Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. And then from all that, they have all the data that they're selling to the marketing place. So they literally have too many. So Facebook ads, they literally have too many different businesses under the umbrella of Facebook. So it would make sense to split them up. And same with Amazon. Amazon, literally, they bought Whole Foods. They're literally now doing grocery. They build, yeah, man, you can order groceries from Amazon in certain parts of the world now.
Pretty cool.
Is it though? Because now what can't you get from Amazon?
Not for grocery prices, but
but the thing is, they also build stuff. I'm sure you've seen like Amazon Basics. So there's stuff you can get from Amazon that will be built by Amazon. And the issue with this as well is, again, it's fucking with competition, because if you're telling me if I'm a phone builder, for example, and you're telling me I can sell my phones on your Amazon marketplace, it's a free marketplace. But when I put my stuff there, when someone searches phone, Amazon phone shows up first, like advertised, like it's not a free marketplace. You guys really control the place. So anyways, long story short, they're breaking them up because they're monopoly. And so I think CEO is just stepping down because he's not trying to show up to court, man. He's not trying to be in all those litigations. He's given the power, like some executive now has the CEO role. but he's obviously still making the same amount of money. He's just taking himself off the paper. And now, yeah, the court hearings are gonna happen, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, what do you make of this, Soy?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. It's like it's really weird that it is like that, where it's like Amazon basically like controls like the climate. I don't even use Amazon, but I think majority of people probably do. I'm not sure. It seems like it, but for him to step down, that's probably what you're saying. I'm not actually too informed as to why he was stepping down. I just saw that he was. So yeah, I don't have like that many thoughts on it, I guess.
That's fair. What do you think of Morshi?
Yeah, if I had that kind of money, like I don't see why I'm going to work each day.
Yeah, I watched a documentary of him, like not too long ago. By you know what's funny, man? That's how you know he's a fucking like Lex Luthor of modern times. Like the documentary was done by Washington Post. It's like a 1 hour documentary on the Washington Post YouTube channel, like done by Washington Post. And you know who owns Washington Post?
He does.
Jeff Bezos. You know, so
Fuck
because I was like 20 minutes into this 45-minute documentary. I'm like, man, it never said anything. Even the negative stuff they say about Jeff, like they've really like brought it up in like a really positive light. So I did like some Googling. I'm like, oh, okay, this makes a lot of sense. you were the one that told him to do this. But anyway, and the thing basically he says like his day to day, like he starts his day pretty early. You know, he's like a family man, so he'll be with his family till like 9, and then he'll get into the office, and then he's probably in the office from like 9 a.m. to like noon. Literally is what he says, and all he does, like he says, his job is like they have meetings, and his job is just to make a series of like executive decisions. That's it. He's just there for like 3 hours. Once all the main decisions are made, you know, then he excuses himself, and that's his whole day, you know. So to the best of my knowledge, I don't want to say he didn't have a job, but it's like this is what he was doing to make 200 million.
Yeah, I guess like when you think about the CEO role and like that stuff is stressful. Like it's extreme stressful, especially when you're a public company. Like, a lot you have to do to like.
I saw that Amazon only has like what do you call it? Where the meetings where you have to talk to your investors, like yearly.
I don't remember the term.
I forget what it's called when I was just said it in the interview, but he only has to address his investors a year, which is like any usual company usually has to do that like monthly.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
But yeah, anyways, I think he's definitely stepping down because he wants to avoid any kind of legal troubles. He definitely still is somehow tied in. Like even if he steps on from the role, he still is tied in, right? If it does go to courts or whatever. But I think this is just like for him to save face more than anything, right? It's just like Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know if it's still going on, but he's like they had been taking him to courts and whatnot for monopolistic behaviors and all that shit. And yeah, just you see the videos of him just looking silly at the courts. He just feels like he shouldn't have to be there. I think that's all this is. I think Jeff was just like, they're coming for us.
That is interesting though, right? Because like you have like a system that is designed in the sense that if you're winning, you keep winning. It's like a snowball effect. But then there's also the same system is also like, whoa, you're winning too much. Like chill out.
I mean, I do see what you're saying, but it's like, I mean, you know the story of Standard Oil, right? Like and John D. Rockefeller. And for those who don't know, it was, that was one of the richest men in American history. And he started the Standard Oil Company, which was, it became a monopoly because he ended up like buying all the railroads and shit. Like, so if you were a competitor trying to transport oil, you had to pay him and he would just jack up those prices. So literally you just had to sell him your company. And that's literally how that was the game. And so eventually it became that, yo, there no one else can sell oil. You guys control it. You guys do everything. You guys control the price. You guys control the rails. You guys, you know what I mean? So it's not a free market anymore. And so that's why they broke it up from Standard Oil. They had Exxon, they had like Chevron. They broke it up into the different little bits that exist today. But it's the same thing today. Like, I see what you're saying. You're like, yes, capitalism does encourage you to make the most profits and kill it. But when it does get to a point where you're just killing competition, you can see that with Facebook, right? With Facebook, when Snapchat came on the scene, I think it was brought up in the courts. They went to Snapchat and offered them X amount of money to sell them the company. Like, yo, we like your app, sell it to us. You know, we're in the business of doing this. And, you know, the Snapchat guys who are like startup guys were like, no, we don't want to sell you our company. And they're like, cool. And they showed them at the same meeting, like, this is your story feature. We've already implemented it into both Facebook and Instagram. If you don't sell it to us, we're going to be launching this, you know, and that's what happened. That's the story of how that happened. Now there's stories on both Instagram and Facebook, and they didn't have to pay for that. They just stole that idea. And same with the reels now. You know what I mean? Like, again, Donald Trump had kind of started a war with TikTok. So there's not going to be an American court. You know, TikTok is not going to come to an American court and say, hey, you stole our idea, and that's going to fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That already happened. But the same thing, we saw it. The reels is literally the TikTok interface in Instagram. It literally was like Mark Zuckerberg was like, yo, I'm fucking with this shit. Call up our engineers. Let's get this shit into fucking Instagram. And that's, at the end of the day, you're right. It is, that's going to increase his profit. He is thinking that way, but that's also killing competition. You know what I mean? That's also, it's toxic behavior. None of these new apps can come. It's almost like if I have a great idea for an app right now, I can be like, I can devote myself to executing it so that I can be a billionaire from this idea, or I could go sell it to Facebook because I know they're going to stop me somewhere along the tracks. And yeah, we see you're on the come up. Like, you know, so
nice
like, so I do see what you're saying more. Like, it definitely, capitalism encourages us to make the most profits, but there's a way you can do it where even, you know, you're not being, I don't know, it's kind of like being a good sportsman, you know? I mean, if you're doing things like, yo, if you start a new company, I'm going to steal all the features from your idea, you know? That's not cool. And it's the same with Amazon. Like, Amazon is, they started initially selling books, but literally there's nothing you can't buy on Amazon now, including groceries. And that's the real issue. Is like, once it becomes the point where everything you need, you have to get from Amazon, they control the price. They control, you know, and that's the issue. Is other people, they say, like, if I build furniture and I want to sell on Amazon, they say it's a free marketplace, but Amazon is going to promote their shit. Amazon is going to make sure they're, like, if you're searching up tables to buy, Amazon is going to make sure their people, or people who are paying them, who, you know, you see like the ads on Amazon's as well, are showing up first. So it's not, and that's why it's so hard for me to buy stuff on Amazon, because it's like, I know the results I'm getting aren't the best stuff first.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the problem with it. It's just killing competition. And then once there's no more competition, that's why there has to be competition, because competition keeps us on edge. It makes sure that, you know, prior to when Amazon was still doing, you know, 3-day shipping with like Purelator or whoever the next guy is, they were like, all right, the way to step it up is to get same-day shipping. You know, competitors give you that edge. So you're like, we need to keep improving it for the customer. But if there's no competitors in sight, then you can slack off. You can increase the price. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Fuck the customer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this has to happen, in my opinion. I think this is necessary. You know, we all love to see Jeff Bezos. You know, he looks like he's like a modern Lex Luthor. You know, he's that dude. We all love to see him win. But
on that Amazon note, the Sawyer, did you check out the new Alexa Michael B. Jordan commercial?
No, I didn't.
Like, I think it's a Super Bowl commercial. It's a fun one.
Oh yeah. I mean, describe it.
Man, basically, the lady gets the lady is like, I think is at a company, and she's talking about how the packaging for the new Alexa is so great. She couldn't imagine anything be greater. Next thing you know, it's like Michael B. They say it comes in a Michael B. Jordan body. So it's like a Michael B. Jordan in her house. She's like, hey, and like her husband's there the whole time. He comes home. She's like, Michael B. Jordan, like, tell me the recipe to this. She's like cooking, having a sensual cook session. Husband comes home. He's like, you know, why you eating? You know, we're eating out.
Yeah.
You know? Michael B. Jordan, like, read me a book. Like, read me a book while we're in like the bathtub. You know, Michael B. Jordan's in the bathtub with her, talking about how like her hair smells like the autumn winds. Her husband's like, yo, I got to use the bathroom too. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty clever commercial. And like,
it's just building up the hype of Michael B. Jordan.
I love the hype, man. I stand by it. Great guy. Loved him, Killmonger. But Hollywood put him on. Like, Hollywood put him
true.
on.
That is true. But he's on now. He's
Yeah.
on, and the goggles have cemented.
Yeah. I saw him take off his shirt in the thing, and I was like, bro, you're not even like, I'm just saying, like, you're not even fit right now. It didn't even matter.
He's got some good movies too.
That's
Some of his early roles.
He's on now. You what was the one you said? What's the fighting one he did?
Which one?
Creed, yeah, Creed and Black Panther. Those are the ones to put him on. That was
Creed's a great movie.
Became the Michael B. Jordan he is now. But yeah, we'll see how this progresses. The story with Amazon. On to our next topic. Lamar Odom and Aaron Carter scheduled to fight in a celebrity boxing match this summer. First reaction, guys. What's your reaction, Imor? Because you know both these guys.
Aaron Carter, back from when he was singing Candy, like in the 2000s. So I respect him for that. Dude was killing the pop game. Lamar Odom, I just always thought he was trash at basketball. But you know what? I think he's proven it to me by doing this. Because he knows he can't live up his rep as a basketball player. I'm glad he's done. But Lamar Odom is 6'10". Aaron Carter is 6 feet. The wingspan alone makes me think Lamar Odom is going to mess up this dude. But, you know, people do a lot of crazy things in COVID, and this just seems to be in line.
I think we're seeing this trend of, you know, people who aren't even professional fighters fighting. You know, we're seeing this trend happen. And it's definitely because of, you're right, COVID. People are like, yo, what's the next thing we can tune into? It's like, oh, this guy's gonna fight this guy. Shit, you know what I mean? Like that's really what it is. So Lamar Odom is the dude that was dating, or is he still with the Kardashian?
No. So I think he had like a really weird past. They divorced like a while ago. She's dating Tristan. She's married to Tristan Thompson now. Actually, I don't even know that dude's been cheating a lot too.
All right. Well, what's Lamar's thing though? Was he married to her?
Yeah, he was. I think he was cheating and like drugs, and I think honestly he was just living like the athlete life. He just, you know, sometimes he just wasn't moving in silence.
Yeah, that's unwise.
That's the best way to put
it. Also dating a Kardashian, you know, like you have to move in silence, you know. But he was wilding and got caught.
You have to go to the underground club, under the underground club.
He was with the girl he cheated with was like Kylie's friend, right?
This isn't Lamar Odom.
Oh,
that's the newer guy.
Oh, okay, never mind then. Fuck.
Like,
who?
It wasn't just her. It was everybody. This guy was in the club with like 2 girls, cameras right on him. I don't know.
And then, oh man, yeah. Unfortunately, the only thing I know him from is smoking crack. I knew he was a basketball player, and I found that he smoked crack, and that was kind of the characteristic I associated him with, unfortunately.
Yeah, like now he's doing a fight. He's doing a boxing match.
Yeah, he's just in the ring, crack.
I do think like because I know he wrote a book about it, and like I know I dissed the guy. Like I think he has like overcome that, and like he had like a pretty he had like a pretty rough childhood. So like in terms of just like the whole picture, like I know I still think he was trash at basketball. Like I'm not gonna give it to him. He was the 4th overall pick. He should have been better. Um, but in terms of like what he's overcome and how he's overcome, like I do respect that.
So with that being said, I do believe that something about a knockout revitalizes a human being in our eyes. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if any one of these guys was to knock out the other one, I don't know either of them, but it just did the headline the next day. And that just adds to I'm gonna forget you from no crack if you knock this dude out.
Yeah. I think he has a lot to lose. If this good, like I'm just saying, like when I think Aaron Carter, have you heard Candy?
Is that a song?
Like I want candy.
Oh yeah,
that's him.
Yes, Aaron Carter. Anyway, like if he gets knocked out by I Want Candy, bro, like
He better walk out.
bro, like, I just think the risk is too high. Like if I were him, like I know he's probably looking like he's going into the ring looking like yo, I'm a destroy this fool. But like if he loses, like let's say he slips some sweat, gets his chin cut in front of him, and just gets clocked. That's it. That is rock bottom.
Yo, and I was gonna say, like, so the guy, like, was it Jake Paul who just knocked out someone recently?
I don't really know which Paul is who.
Yeah, it was
Nate
Pauls.
Robinson he fought.
Yeah. People said, oh, Nate Robinson is a basketball player or something, right? Like, he's athletic, he should be able to handle himself in the situation. And you got knocked out, like, I don't know, pretty quickly, right? And
yeah,
it just became a meme. It turned into a thing, and then next day that was when like Mayweather said, all right, I'll fight the dude's brother, So there's just something about the excitement from these knockouts. And so you're right, both these guys look like does Aaron have anything to lose if he gets knocked out?
No. I forgot about him.
Why put yourself in this situation then? If you're Lamar Odom, why allow yourself to be in this situation where
It's such a weird fight.
Yeah.
Where did this come from?
It's like, how do they even talk? That being said, though, with like Jake Paul and like Floyd Mayweather, like I know this guy just beat Nate Robinson, but this man needs to chill.
No, it wasn't. It's his brother that's gonna fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right.
They both like still like they need to chill because
they're both like MMA trained. Like they both like actually train.
Yeah,
in fighting. So that being said, though, like you fighting Mayweather is a boxing match, it's not MMA.
And that's what kind of is like. I don't think they understand. It's like when you beat. I think like Nate Robinson, as like he was a very athletic basketball player, but it's like just because you're really great at basketball doesn't mean you're going to do crap on the soccer field. And I think I can see like obviously there's the marketing standpoint of this. Boxing is all marketing, but like I see these guys like fighting a lot of guys who don't fight and beating up on dudes who don't fight. And so it's like, yo, like I messed you up. You have clout and I messed you up. But I'm like, yo, you don't fight. And like when you call out Mayweather and you call out these guys, like we saw what happened with Conor McGregor when he got in a boxing match with Mayweather. The cardio like needed to sustain yourself in a boxing match with a professional is like what is required of you is like so high. Plus, you literally have guys, MMA and boxers, like especially when you get like your pro card and you're like up there, you're not even allowed to like get into like regular fights with people anymore. You know what I mean? Like you could get sued, right? Because you know how to take people down at this point. So I don't know. Like I see this and I'm like, they're making a lot of money. It's a lot of excitement. People are like happy about it, but I'm also worried, I guess, to an extent of like this guy's gonna. He's gonna ask some fighter one day who's just in a bad mood and is like, you know what? Let me beat on this dude for like 2 hours. And the worst thing,
are you talking about like one of these Paul brothers?
Yeah, like he's just gonna ask a fighter, and like, you this guy, what did he say? He was like, Big Paul blast Floyd Mayweather, you're old, scared, and probably broke. What did this guy was like, you know what? Let's fight. And then this guy's probably thinking like, oh, gentleman's rule. He'll just like, if it's like if he sees me, it's like a quick knockout or something, right? What if this guy wants to drag it on? He's punching you, but he's not punching you too hard. He wants it to be 13 rounds. He wants you to be like, ugh, when he like gives you like those guys can control the fight to that extent. And that, like, I don't know. It's like every time you step in the room, like every time you step into the ring, there's that risk. And like I know they're fighting a lot of people who don't fight, and they're beating up on people who don't fight. But the moment you fight someone that does, like, end your life, people have died in the ring.
With that being said, though, I would imagine that if you're gonna fight Floyd Mayweather and you've been calling him out, you're gonna train before that. You're training up onto that day. You know what I mean? I'll give them the benefit. Like, I feel like he might have been like they're YouTube stars, so they're used to just going on their story and talking shit. It's gonna reach the world. So he might have just been on his couch like, yo, fuck you, Mayweather. Are you gonna blah blah blah? And then when he finally got the fight, that's when he's like, yo, he called up his trainer. We're going to, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I can't imagine that he's still like on some fuck shit now that the fight is official, because Mayweather's training, So yeah, that's how I see it. I feel like they're gonna train. I don't know if it's gonna be a good fight, because again, yeah, exactly. Again, man, Mayweather is just such a professional. He's just like, you know what I mean? Like, that's like the highest extent. It's almost like for fans of boxing. I'm not a fan of boxing, but I feel like for fans of boxing, I feel like it's almost insulting to see Mayweather take this fight. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, why? Who is this? Yeah. This guy has no official. All he has is like a huge YouTube following, and he's been able to, corral them to get this fight going. He doesn't have any kind of stripes that got him this fight. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a mockery of boxing, and that's what boxing is turning into. It's like every other week we're watching a fight where one or none of them is a professional fighter.
Yeah, facts.
So yeah, we'll see how this goes. But yeah, it's not looking good for Aaron. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. Lastly, our last topic: Freddie Gibbs and Schoolboy Q dropped a song called "Gang Signs." Just a nice vibe. I kind of checked it out this morning. I love it, kind of like a jazzy vibe. Yeah, I need to go back and listen to it, but definitely off the first listen, I was like, yo, this is smooth. What'd you think, Soy?
I thought it was sick. I think Freddie Gibbs is probably one of the best rappers in the world right now. Because to me, Schoolboy Q is probably one of the most underrated rappers. He's on TDE, and like he has a really good catalog, honestly.
Of course.
He's a really, really good rapper. But Freddie Gibbs, honestly, he kind of washed him on the song to me.
Freddie Gibbs is getting that look now because he's also, I think he just signed with Universal because he's been independent for a while.
Really?
Yeah. So that's why we're seeing him a lot more. But yeah, I really fuck with it. I gotta give it another listen, but I fuck with it. I fuck with the jazzy vibe. Very, very smooth shit. Just some smooth gangster rap. Yeah. And with that concludes our global.
All right. On to national. So for national news, we just got some good news. I think it's for Alberta. We've been in lockdown for, I don't even remember how long. I think maybe it's been 2 months now. No, it's been like a month, maybe. I don't even know. It feels like forever. But they closed like gyms and bars. And so they're reopening. I think it's the first phase where basically it's like restrictions at restaurants. And then, and Morshi, you said it has to be like 101?
Yeah, personal training.
Okay. So it can't, we'll see how that goes. But I don't know. What do you guys think of this? Are you gonna go to restaurants? You think this is a good thing, bad thing?
I think this is a good thing. Like, they're talking about new variants, and they're talking about trying to keep the hospitalization rates low and whatnot. So obviously everyone still has to be cautious, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's still not a. I feel like some people hear this and they're like, oh, lockdown is lifted. I can do whatever the fuck I want now, but that's not what this is, right? It still is. They're still monitoring the hospitalization, like how many people are in the hospital. And then when that gets to a specific number, that's when we're fully out of the clear. So with that being said, like, yeah, I probably will fuck around. I probably will go to a bar. I want to play some pool. Yeah, I've been like reading this Kung Fu book that is written by a dude here in Calgary. And so I was thinking like whenever he does open his gym, so that should be pretty soon. I would go for like one of his one-on-one classes. Yeah, I mean, there's stuff I want to do as well, right? Like, but yeah, I know I can't get crazy. You know what I mean? What about you, Emo?
I miss the gym a lot.
Yeah.
Just like the environment, because I'm someone who like I don't like to study at home. I don't like to work out at home. I go to work to work. I go to school to study. I go to the gym to work out. And like COVID's kind of made me like be adaptable in the sense to like be able to work out at home, but I don't like it. So any steps that are going towards like the gyms opening again, I think is great. In terms of restaurants, I don't really mind that they're not open because I don't like spending money at restaurants. So that's just me. But that being said, like not to be insensitive to like the industry because like a lot of people are like without jobs right now. So there is a good thing. Like it is a good thing that it is opening because yeah, like there's a lot of people unemployed and that's a huge like market. Also, there are some restaurants that I do like, and a lot of businesses are like they're getting to the point where like they can't even like sustain themselves. And I don't know if you guys have been to like downtown like recently, but like you know how you always have like those like for lease signs and like almost kind of not abandoned but like empty like vacant buildings.
Yeah, a lot of vacancies.
Yeah, like living downtown like a couple years ago, like you didn't see that many of them. Like I could probably count like maybe 2 or 3, like I could openly see. And now it's like everywhere, especially on 17th Ave because the rent there is so high, and it's kind of like it's becoming like it's becoming deserted. You know, like you don't want that to happen to the city, especially a city that's trying to grow. A city that this is a place where you're trying. We want it to be a cool place to live. You know, and like when all your attractions are dying, like you know. And this also like points me a question to you guys. Do you guys think we'll have Stampede this year?
I don't think so because you're saying like this lockdown is part of like a 4-step process that's based on like hospitalization rates, right? So I think right now we're at 600. 3 weeks we should be at 400, and that's when they'll do the next. Like that's when more people can go into the gym, and then when we're on the last one, there should be like less than 100 people in the hospital, is what they're doing. And what this is making sure, and what that's supposed to affect is making sure infections aren't going up, so still making sure the restrictions are working. B, they're talking what they're monitoring is the curve for the current one. They're watching the variant as well, so that variant has its own curve, which is being dormant right now, and they're scared that if they open up too soon, the variant one is just gonna start its own thing, right? Yeah. So, in addition to that, they're watching the variant. They're also rolling out this vaccine, right? They're trying to make vaccine spots. I don't think we're gonna get like all the vaccines out until September is the timeline for everything. So with that being said, like I do not see the government allowing people to be like, yeah, let's get 100 people on these fucking Stampede grounds. Like, fucking
miss Stampede, man.
You miss Stampede? I don't know about that.
I miss Stampede. I missed it, man.
It's pretty fun. If it is open.
If it's open,
that is going to be the funnest time. If it does end up like things work out and like we can all go out and like hang out and party, the Stampede is going to be it's going to be amazing.
It will be lit. It will be lit. Whenever it returns, it will be lit. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know if it will be this year. Like, do you guys see it being like that's July? That's a couple months from now.
Yeah, like I don't think it'll be as well, but hope you gotta have some hope.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
But yeah, so that is it for national. Yeah, good news.
Yeah. And so on to our local here. We have a guest today. Our brother Morshi. And yeah, we usually do an interview when we have a guest. So that's good, Amor. How's life been treating you since the start of this pandemic?
Life. It's been tough in the sense of I had a lot of plans for my life in terms of like age age checks. Like I want to do certain things by a certain age. And when the pandemic hit, it definitely made me feel like I wasn't going to be able to like achieve those things. And like the fear of not achieving those things definitely motivated me to do it, to like always, to be motivated to like accomplish my goals and things. And then sometimes like I think it's like okay to admit that like some things are like out of your hands and stuff. But in general, like I saw, like I think of any situation, it's a lot about how you see it. And yes, this pandemic has been like really frustrating for a lot of people, but it's also been a lot of like it's also been a time for like growth and like learning, Like I never read because like being in school, every time I was reading it was for like a test. Or so I equated reading, if I'm not reading to learn, like I'm not reading. And like this has been a time where I got used to like reading like novels again and like getting lost in that stuff. And like I don't know if a lot of the stuff I've read are ever gonna like help me in the future, but it's just like been a nice, I guess, like change up, compared to that. And also it's just been a time of like self-discovery too, in terms of like my future plans. Like there's a lot of things I wanted to do that I'm not sure if I want to do anymore. And some stuff I never thought about doing that I might do. So
Word. I think that's very relatable. I think, definitely a lot of reflection has come from this time. Just I'm sure for everyone, right? And there's two ways you can look at the situation. I think I was definitely in the first boat in the beginning when pandemic first hit. I was like, man, I had all these fucking plans. I was gonna do all this shit. This was gonna be my year. And I definitely allowed myself to just sit in that self-pity for like a month there, almost thinking that, whenever I'm done, whenever this thing is over, I'll just flip, and then after like, I'm sure like on day number 32, I realized like, yeah, this pandemic isn't ending anytime soon. And so, yeah, I just had to start motivating myself in other ways. Right. So yeah, there's always that. So another question for you is like, what's next for you? Basically, what's next in your journey?
The journey. I'd say I'm trying for at least the next year. I'm trying not to be so future focused. I'm trying to be a lot of like now focused. I think people spend a lot of their youth, and actually I won't talk for people, I'll talk for myself. I've spent a lot of my 20s putting out fires. It's always like, okay, so like I gotta do well here, and then when I do well here, I gotta get a job, and then when I get a job, I gotta make this kind of money. I gotta get this certification, and I think like it's a good mindset in terms of it allows you to achieve goals because you're constantly looking at the next goal, but you're also in a perpetual state of like you're not satisfied, I'd say, right? And like a big thing about life is you gotta live it, So I do think in terms of my future, just being more present, being more aware of the moment, taking time to just chill. Like I don't chill enough, and like appreciate that. I would have really loved to travel in this time, but obviously that's not an option. And I find like books have been they've been a really cool way to like experience traveling to a point. So I would say if anything, if I have any goals, it would just be to read more. I don't have like a set amount of books I want to read a day. I'm not doing that. I'm not putting any like undue pressure. It's just to read and like fall in love with that again. And when time comes for like find a way to be happy now, because when the time comes where this is not a thing anymore, like I'll like things will change. My ideas will probably pivot. Things like that would happen, but I'm not dwelling anymore. Just relaxing.
That's good.
Yeah. How about you guys?
What's next? Basically, I'm trying to put out this album, and then market this album strategically, and then we're talking about a studio here. I kind of let you know about that. We're trying to get a studio space. hopefully for March or later, and just start building, make that a hub, just start building from there and create the future. With that being said, I do agree with you. I definitely have been reading a lot. I don't read, I listen to Audible. But I was reading. I was reading last year. And then I just discovered Audible, and Audible is just like,
It's definitely easier.
I read like 2 books a month.
I need to get that.
Every time I tell people about Audible, they're like, "Oh, it's definitely easier." They're, "Oh, that's cute," They're always trying to downplay it, but I'm reading books too. That's it's just a lot. I feel like there's definitely I've read stuff. Like I have a book. I've read stuff or I've listened to stuff that I'm like, wow, what I'm hearing is fire writing. I need to order this book so I can read it. So I definitely get that sometimes, but for the most part, I like to just listen to it because I definitely haven't. I honestly, what I enjoy about Audible is I feel like I definitely have OCD when it comes to reading. Like if I read a paragraph, sometimes I don't know if this happens to other people. Like I can read and then just zone out, and I could have just read 2 pages, and then I'll have to and I'll catch myself like at the end of the second page and be like, what the fuck did I just read? Like what maybe I'll look back and I'll be able to see like keywords. I was like, all right, that's there. I was like, I have to read these 2 pages again because I don't know what the fuck I just read.
You just zone out.
Whereas with the audiobook, you can zone out listening to an audiobook, but you're always engaged, if something, and I feel like the readers, a lot of the books I've been reading are like biographies, so it's usually the person who wrote the book that's reading the book, so they have a lot of, how would I put it? They're putting a lot more into the performance, like whenever like a shocking moment happens, whenever they're doing the voices and stuff, it's stuff that I feel like would definitely be missed. Like people who are reading the book are not going to get this. So vice versa, I feel like it goes both ways. There's definitely stuff, like you said, there's definitely an aspect of reading that, it takes in, your whole mind is focused. I'm usually doing other stuff when I'm listening to the book. So, but when you're reading, your whole mind is focused on the book and you can really go to that place. So there's two ways of it.
Yeah.
There's 2 ways of it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Very important question. Maybe the most important question you're ever asked.
Okay.
What is your top 5?
You mean like for music?
Yeah, like your top 5 rappers of all time.
Top 5 rappers of all time. I got a couple disclaimers before I talk about it. First off, I'm like not into rap that much. It really is like your boy listens to some randoms. But if I was gonna say for rap, I'd put in no particular order because I can't rank them, but I can give you 5. I give you 21 Savage. I really like him. Drake, but I think I like Drake. I don't think of Drake as a rapper though. I think of him just as an overall like artist. Just, like it does a lot. Meek Mill. I really like Meek Mill. There's a couple other guys that like J. Cole. I really mess with J. Cole, I think. Especially his older, like he has some good new things, but like his older stuff, like No Role Models. Love that song, man. Like the bars in that song, oh my God. I think I got one more, right?
Yeah.
Damn, that's tough. That's gonna be my last one. I'm not gonna say Kendrick because I really don't like Kendrick. I know that's like everyone's expectation, but I don't like Kendrick. I was actually listening to someone yesterday. Maybe I can find them. Yeah, it's this artist. His name's Polo Show.
Yeah.
That's number 5. Hopefully,
Nice.
He'll be number 1 soon.
Amen.
And I get my check.
That's a good. I actually really fuck with 21 Savage. I don't know what it is, but he just gets me so hyped. Like,
It's just like I think it's just like, you just know. I don't know how. I feel like every rapper is trying to replicate that. That feeling of when every rapper that's trying to be a gangster is trying to make you feel that they're a gangster, you know. But it's like
Yeah.
21 isn't the most lyrical with it, but it's like when you hear him talk, you just know that this is that dude, you know, like you
It puts
just
you in a mindset of like, I don't give a fuck. Like,
there's literally a knife tatted between his eyes.
It was like, yes, it's always like a hard beat, and I'm always just kind of like in a vibe. And then he says something like, tell that waitress I ain't kidding. I want hot sauce on my chicken." I'm like, what? I'm like, what, dude? Hey,
that has to do with anything.
yeah, like, hey, sure, like let's go. I just think like the mentality and like just the whole vibe of him too. Honorable mentions, I'll give Future.
Yeah.
Future's fire.
I'm surprised that dude hasn't been shot to death by a woman, but
For real.
honorable mention, you know.
Any more honorable mention?
Damn, maybe.
Well, I'll ask
I can't
this.
think. I can't think.
What is the music you listen to? Like, what's the majority that you do listen to?
I'd say like a lot of R&B. So I've been listening to a lot of Giveon lately. I'm not saying that right, Giveon.
Yeah.
A lot of him, Division. I like Tory Lanez. That's what I was gonna say. I really like Tory Lanez. I think of him as R&B and rap too. Like it's very sometimes even pop. But yeah, I'd say like anything that's like if you have a nice voice and it's like a classic like R&B beat, I really mess with it. Also like all time, I love Usher, man.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
Who?
What I do.
Classics.
Usher, man. Love Usher. He, like
Oh, word.
his whole like Confessions album. When he did the like, first off, I can't believe he put most of the stuff he said like on his lyrics. I'm like, I can't believe you put that out there. It kind of seems you're not sorry. How you gonna make a whole album called Confessions and be like, some of the stuff he said, like first thing is like, you don't understand. Like, I hope you understand that I'm man enough to tell you this. I'm like, bro, you cheated. How can you like ask the person you cheated on to respect that you're a man enough? But it sounds nice.
Toxic, man. I feel like that's the best R&B music, man. When you're just being straight up toxic. You just like eat this shit up, girl.
Yeah. That's why Party's so fire. It's just everything he makes is toxic.
Comes back for part 2. By the way, she has a baby now. Love it.
So yeah, my final question for you, Imor, is what is the best advice you've ever been given?
Grow or you die.
I'm sorry, what?
You grow or you die.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Very
that
simple.
yeah, I think like that's something you gotta live by. You're either learning, you're either figuring out a way to like move on to get better at whatever you're doing, or you're dying. And like you don't have to think of death as like the literal sense. And I don't think of it as a literal sense. Like you're not just getting like, oh, today I'm not gonna do anything and I'm just gonna like pass away. Like I think of death as like subjecting yourself to the mundane or like subjecting yourself to like the system, you know? It's like if you're not growing, if you're not like pushing yourself, you allow outside forces to have like control over your life, you know? If you don't make the decisions, society makes decisions for you. If you're someone who you're not trying to like better your craft, get educated, or, you know, pour your life, heart, and soul into your passion, like you're probably going to end up working like some crap job that you hate, some with hours that you hate on this timeline that you know what I mean? And that's kind of how I see life. So you're either going or you die because you have this force outside that's always pushing you to be mundane and pushing you to be, I don't know, just like have like a life that no one wants, so a life that no one cares about. So you have to grow and build like your strength to push back against it. And like I think constantly doing that, not only and having that like kind of mentality, it builds strength, it builds courage, it allows you to take some risks, but at the same time, like it could be extremely like rewarding.
That's dope, man. I really like that. That's dope advice. So yeah, thank you for that interview. On to our artist's motivation, and we'll be concluding pretty shortly here. So I recently got a book. For those who can see, it's called The Master Key System. This is one of those books that I initially heard the audiobook and I was like, yo, this audiobook is all kinds of fire. I got to read this book. So basically in the foreword, so not even before the introduction, this is just the author's like foreword. I'm going to read this portion I've highlighted, and then I'm not really going to interpret it. I'm just going to leave it there, because it's one of those kind of readings. And as the most powerful forces of nature are the invisible forces, so we find that the most powerful forces of man are his invisible forces, his spiritual force, and the only way in which the spirit force can manifest is through the process of thinking. Thinking is the only activity which the spirit possesses, and thought is the only product of thinking. I'm going to add on to that. Addition and subtraction are therefore spiritual transactions. Reasoning is a spiritual process. Ideas are spiritual conceptions. Questions are spiritual searchlights, and logic, arguments, and philosophy is spiritual machinery. I'll read the last part of this, which ties in. So that by this simple exercise of thought, a man changes not only himself, but his environment, circumstances, and conditions. Word. I think this ties a lot into what you were just saying, your advice. So yeah, leave it for the listeners to think about. So you want to take us away with the conclusion?
Yeah. So this has been episode 33.
Yep.
Right? Okay. Thank you, Amorshi, for being on. Really appreciated it. You can follow us on Instagram. My Instagram is The Only True Soy. We have the Lifted Ones account, which is lifted_ones. The blog, YYC Hip Hop Daily. And then Shosho.
I am Poliano_DA_Don.
Okay. And Amorshi.
No, I'm no social media right now. Just chilling.
Okay.
But thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Appreciate the conversation.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. So this has been episode 33. Thank you guys for listening, and see you next week. Peace.
Peace.